your own control. Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income source. Hidden agendas run the grand parade. In the circus, choose a masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Greetings. Hope everybody is having a great day. Today we will be talking about fasting and weight loss and what I personally am going to do. This is not medical advice or any of that stuff. This is just what I'm doing, and these are just my thoughts on the whole process. All right, so I was taking a medication a while back that makes you gain weight, and it's like for some health issues, whatever. It didn't work for those health issues. I'm off the medication, and now I have to deal with losing the weight. So I'm going to be doing that this week. I will be fasting, which is a lot of work. Well, it's a lot of work because you have to be really busy the whole time you fast. You can't just have nothing planned and expect to fast easily. You're gonna have to be really focused on some sort of goal outside of eating and food. So I am not cooking this week. I'm not going to be around when people are eating this week. I am also going to be focusing on other things. I'm trying to stay out of the house, go on walks in nature, just go do chores, do some errands outside of the house, anything to not be around or smell or anything to do with food for just like a week. Because when you have a lot of excess weight and inflammation in the body, the best thing you can do for it, in my opinion, is to give your body the time and the space it needs to handle all of that. And that means do not add more stress. Digestion is such a labor-intensive process that giving your body a couple days, like as many as you feel you can safely do, is the best for you, in my opinion. I remember I fasted once for just 3 days, and I know it's not that much, but I remember after that, I did not get cramps for, I want to say 2 years, not a single cramp, just because I fasted for 3 days. That's the only thing I did at that time. So I was just like, there's definitely some like sort of cleanup crew that does stuff when you are just giving it the time to do that. So I believe in the feast and famine philosophy. I don't believe you can feast all the time because then you get into trouble. And I don't believe you can be in famine all the time because you get into another host of problems. So you need to kind of go back and forth, and that will give you more metabolic flexibility. So when I was younger and I had a lot of metabolic flexibility, when I had a lot more of that, it was because I just had a lot of stuff going on, right? I am not thinking about food. I am thinking about work and school and going places and meeting people. Food was not a part of it. So I only ate when it came up, right? Like it was not top of mind. And I see a lot of people, food is always top of mind. And it kind of became that way when I got more sedentary, right? So when you're very sedentary, you will think about food because you need something to do maybe with your hands or whatever, or just to like get some cheap, and it's very cheap and it's very trashy dopamine. So instead of that, we are going to lock in and we're going to focus on things that actually make us fitter and healthier over time. The number one thing that we do that makes us unhealthy in the modern day is sitting. So I'm doing it now. This chair device here that we have is the worst thing that humans have ever invented, because we were not meant to sit for so long during the day. We were always meant to be walking, and then instead of sitting, we lay down to go to sleep. We were not supposed to be sitting for long periods of time. You should never sit more than 30 minutes in any stretch of time. So that's why airplane flights, you're more likely to get heart attacks and strokes and blood clots and stuff. And when you're sitting in work on a desk job, you're going to be more stressed out. You're going to have more problems losing weight because the act of sitting is basically anti-health. There's no two ways about it. And yes, like you have to get rid of like the hunger cravings because they're going to come up when you get bored or when you've eaten at regular times. You're going to get your hunger cravings come up. So all you have to do is just like know to yourself, you have taken your supplements, you are not nutrient deprived, because I still take supplements even if I'm fasting. I take supplements and I take tea, right? I'll take my tea in the morning and I'll take supplements. And then I can take tea throughout the day and electrolytes. That's how I do it. I feel like it's the best way. And the other thing that I also do is I like to walk and maybe listen to a podcast or some funny comedy show or something. Like just listen to it and walk in nature. It's going to take your mind off of the fact that you're not eating. And it's also going to give you something fun to do. And you're exercising and you're outside and you're not sitting. Now, you could think, I'll write a book. That's going to be sitting. So you can't do that. Or I'm going to write down a list of, goals I want to do, or I'll get, ahead at work. If your job has to do with sitting, you don't want to do that. You want to stand up. If you have a standing desk, that's fine. You can use that. Most of us don't. I have one of these pedal machines under my desk, so I don't always remember to use it. But if you can, every time you're sitting, remember to use that or use a standing desk. Those are your two options, standing desk or pedals under your desk if you're going to be sitting. And if you want to lose weight, limit the amount of sitting you have. That's what's keeping it so hard, because you are stopping lymphatics. You are pooling your fat cells in certain areas you don't want. And it's just really bad for your blood flow and for every facet of your being. It's going to just make you more unhealthy, and it's linked to all-cause mortality. So sitting, not good. If I could go do life again, I would specifically look for a sort of job that required zero sitting. Just something that you can do, maybe like, I don't know, something on the phone where you can pace around a room, or something that you don't have to be at a desk, like computer jobs. Thankfully, we're going to have AI, so a lot of things can be automated with AI, but sitting is the enemy. I don't want to there used to be like glamorization of I'm going to write a book. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to write a book. I don't feel that way anymore, because when I think of sitting and what that does to the body, I'm like, it's not so glamorous. I don't think it's worth it. I don't care how amazing your book is. Maybe if you could do it with a standing desk, you could do that. But I don't want to sit. And I also don't want to look down because of what that does to your neck and shoulders. Yes. See, that's a great job to have, a mailman. Think about that. You get to come and go. I had a one desk job, but it was 90% was jumping up to go to the printer and waiting in line to get to the printer because it was so packed. And I didn't think about it at the time. I found that so annoying that I have to constantly be at the printer going, and it's all the way down the hall to the printer and back, all the way down the hall to the printer and back, and waiting in line. And I realized I was so fit because of that, because of the freaking annoying printer, because we didn't have any printer in anybody's one office, and it was so paper heavy. I don't know if that's the same thing anymore. I don't know if we use paper in offices. I haven't been in offices in so long, but if you have an annoying thing that you have to stand up for every few minutes, you are very, very lucky in this day and age. And that's going to keep you healthy and give you more longevity than anybody else. So, all right. We're going to talk about the concept of exercise versus your regular movements, right? So if you exercise for an hour 4 times a day, it still only burns a few amount of calories. But when you sit for a substantial amount of the rest of the day, it kind of negates it. You're not really moving the needle. And people don't want to hear that, but you don't move the needle if you sit after you work out. So you're kind of, and there's a special word for it, but I forgot, it's off the top of my head right now. It's something about sedentary exercisers or something like that. So it's you're basically primarily sitting, and then you work out really hard, and then you go back to your sitting. That is not going to do it. I'm sorry. That's why you can't lose weight. And that's why you might have some muscles, but they're covered in weight. So, in order to combat this, we are going to be standing up. We're going to be doing stuff that requires standing. So, this is my list. You should have this list too, because we should all be doing these things. I'm going to be cleaning out my closet. I'm going to be cleaning out the pantry. I'm going to be cleaning out the garage. I'm going to be going for walks with a podcast or music or whatever you want to do. I'm going to be doing stretches, I have a new book that I got on calisthenics. So it's very easy starter calisthenics type workout moves you can do. It's nothing hard. It's nothing crazy, but it's just to add some movement. And I, of course, have my kettlebells, which I like. And that's it. That's what I'm going to be doing. I also do trampoline and the vibration plate for only like 10 minutes a day on the lowest setting. That's just to like move a little lymphatics. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So you can do that if you just prioritize it. You can do whatever you do on the computer, put it on the TV if you want. Like if you're just passively like watching like a podcast or something like that on your computer screen, you can do that on the TV and you can clean. You can be organizing. You could be throwing away stuff that you know you should be throwing away. You can just be on your feet doing stuff. And that's really the gist of why we have had such a problem with weight. Oh, let's talk about the food thing. We're not going to like to hear this, but talking to people who are like alive, like their grandparents or whatever in like the 40s and the 50s and stuff like that, what we considered food before the meat industry, the egg industry, the orange juice industry, the dairy industry, before they all got involved in our breakfast is the most important meal of the day propaganda, what people were actually eating in a day will blow your mind, because we have this, and now it's protein. You need 5 billion pounds of protein. And I've fallen into this too. And I'm just here like stuffing down protein. And I'm like, this is gross. I feel sick. This is too much garbage. Like there's no way I can imagine any animal surviving in the wild needing this much protein and needing to eat this many times a day just so they can work out. Like all of that stuff. It's toxic workout culture. It's not going to do anything for you. You have to understand what they would actually eat was a piece of toast. It was sourdough. Okay. A sourdough piece of toast, maybe some butter and black coffee. That was the typical American breakfast when we were young and fit and healthy as a nation. Black coffee. Maybe you had tea. Whatever it was like a drink with no sugar, with a little caffeine, and then maybe an herbal tea. Hey, if you're super healthy, oh my gosh. And a piece of toast, right? If you didn't have a piece of toast, maybe you had some fruit, maybe you had an apple. Oh my gosh. And guess what they had for lunch? They didn't have these, you need an hour for lunch. You need to, whatever. It wasn't like that. It was, okay, it's lunchtime. There's a banana or an apple and maybe like half of a, like a little sandwich. Maybe there's some jam in there. Maybe there's peanut butter or something. Maybe there's something like that, like something simple, nothing. But it was not a full thing. It was not, you didn't need all the food groups. You didn't need to have a colorful plate. It was literally basically just a little something. And that's it. And your stomach was not big because you didn't have these big, huge meals which stretch out your stomach and make you hungrier over time, right? So they're going to make you want to eat more. They're going to make you want more and more quantity. There was also zero snacking. Snacking is a new thing. We invented it. Processed foods invented it. Being sedentary and made it something that people would do, like, oh, I'm bored, I got nothing to do, I got nobody to talk to, I guess I'll just have some crackers and cheese or something. Like that is something people do because they're depressed, they're lonely, they're bored, they don't have a purpose anymore. So instead of that, we're going to get ourselves a purpose and we're going to get up and make health our purpose, because it's the best purpose you can have, because being healthy means you can help more people, you can help your family, you can help yourself. All the time we waste with food and drinks and all that stuff that we're doing all throughout the day is taking away our longevity, our health span, our mental clarity, everything. Because when you eat, you lose your mental clarity, you lose your focus, you lose all of that. So if you just eat less, more sparingly, like how we're supposed to, you don't have all of that noise going on. So anyways, let's talk about, the amount of movement you do when you are in your day-to-day life, right? So you can't just do this once in a while or like a cleanse or something like that. It has to be incorporated into your everyday. So we need to kind of figure out how we're going to move more. One of the ways we lose weight actually is fidgeting. So one thing that people do is they might have a standing desk, but not only that, they might put some maybe different stuffed animals or pillows or different, not so hard things, but different soft things of different textures and whatever, and then cover that with a yoga mat and then stand at the standing desk on that. What this is going to do, it's going to make you uncomfortable. So you're going to keep moving around. So people who fidget a lot are healthier, and fidgeting is tied to longevity. So my ADHD mom's never going to die. She's never sat still in her life. She doesn't even know what it's like to sit still. She's either laying down sleeping, she has a nap. She lays down, she's out like a light nap, and then she jumps up, and then she just can't stop talking and can't stop moving and pacing. What you doing over here? What's going on over there? Cleaning stuff, moving around, going for walks in the neighborhood. She doesn't stop. And everybody's so jealous of her because she's older, but she's still very fit. But really, that's the thing. She never stopped moving. She can't. She literally, I don't think she's capable of not moving. She doesn't have it in her. And that's a great habit to have, as annoying as it can be for some of us who are very sedentary, like me. I've gotten very I used to be like that, and I've gotten very sedentary because of the computer thing. I think streaming was pretty net negative for my health because I had lost a ton of weight 4 years ago. I was way more unhealthy, and I had gained a lot of weight from health issues and the kids and stuff and some stress. And then I lost it, and then I started streaming, and then it started creeping up again because it's more sedentary. And I'm also researching on the computer, what should I talk about? What should I do? And that sitting is not a good thing. So we're going to prioritize more time walking, because I technically can research stuff while I'm doing a walk in nature. I can be listening to something, coming up with ideas while I'm on a walk. I could actually get a pen and paper and write it down while I'm on my walk, a little notepad. Do you remember those? We used to have those. So I could be doing that stuff, but no, path of least resistance. I'm going to sit my ass on this chair on the computer, and that is the issue. So when you are thinking of someone who's very fit and you're like, I'm so jealous, or I wish I could look like that, or what are they doing? What are they eating? It's not what they're eating. It's not anything. It's just how much they move throughout the day and how little they sit. So your pillars are, you have to sleep well. So you got to make sure you're doing all the things to sleep well. Huberman has a podcast on all the things you can do to sleep. Cold air, complete darkness, no flickering lights, get the computer and the technology and all that stuff out of the bedrooms, blackout curtains, all those things. If you can do that, you're going to sleep better. If you don't have pets, you're going to be way better off. That's my problem, because at nighttime they like to get a hairball or something and wake us up. But if you can, don't get pets unless you absolutely need them, because they will keep you up. I realize this. Yeah. Anyways, so you got your sleep, your food, as long as it's real whole foods and you're not going crazy. You don't need to have 50 things. Don't listen to people who tell you this is the most important meal of the day, or you need to get this much protein. Just don't have sugar and have real foods, and you're going to be okay. All right. When I was at my healthiest, I was barely eating meat. I would eat meat, a tiny little piece of meat. Oh my gosh. And I forgot to tell this one part. So in the 40s and 50s, you know how much meat they would have the entire day? 4 to 4 to 6 ounces. So like a small woman or a child might get 4 ounces of either chicken or beef or ground beef or a piece of lamb or a fish, right? 4 ounces, right? And a man, a big man, not a regular size, a big man might get 6 ounces. That's it. That's it. And you didn't have 50 sides. Oh, no, no, no. That was all marketing too. You had maybe one side of a vegetable if you're American, because that's here. In other countries, we would have a tiny little bit of rice. We would have a tiny little bit, maybe like 4 ounces of a piece of meat and maybe some herbs sprinkled. And we were done. That was it. It's crazy how little you actually need to function. So, anyways, the next part, okay, that's your food, that's your diet. You're just gonna pare it down, right? Get rid of sugar. Don't drink any sugar at all. Like if you want to have a coffee, if you want to have something, a beautiful, oh my gosh, the most gorgeous hummingbirds here. Gorgeous. Anyways, if you want to have some sweetness in your coffee or your tea, you can literally just switch to having a little bit of heavy cream, like less than a tablespoon of heavy cream in your drink. Once you get out of the sugar addiction, you'll be able to taste heavy cream a little bit in your coffee or your tea as hyper sweet. It's amazing what you can do when you just detox sugar and your taste buds get resensitized. You'll be amazed of the things that are actually sweet. Like there's this herbal tea that I also use throughout the day to kind of like, if I ever feel like I want a snack, I'll make myself this herbal tea. It's called ribose. It's like red ribose tea. It's caffeine free, so you can have it anytime. It lowers histamines. It's very nice and calming. It kind of tastes like a black tea too, so you get that nice flavor and the nice smell and stuff. And I feel like when I haven't had sugar for a while, that tea by itself is incredibly sweet and delicious. I know it sounds crazy, but when you detox your sugar, your sweet tooth, lots of things that you didn't pay attention to or you didn't taste before are going to taste nice and sweet and wonderful to you. There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of fruit. Don't listen to people who tell you can't. Like okay, this is what I'm going to do. Like once I start eating, because I'm going to be fasting for a while, but once I start eating, I'm going to be breaking my fast with a cup of broth and maybe like 2-3 eggs scrambled. That's what I'm going to have. And then the next day, I'm going to put a little bit more into the diet and increase, because you don't want to fast and then have a huge meal. You want to go kind of slowly because you don't want to shock your system. And then you can like ramp it up, and then you can be like more like in your feasting, but feasting in the sense of what a human should have, not what we've been conditioned to have. You don't need like a huge tomahawk steak. You don't need to have like a 10 egg omelet. You do not need 5 pounds of food, 3 sides, and a vegetable and some protein every single meal of the day. That is excessive. That is too much, especially if you're not like 7 feet tall. Okay. You need to taper it down, simmer down, right? So we're going to eat for our lifestyle. If we are sitting 5 hours a day, we don't need as much calories. I'm sorry. You are sitting. You are sedentary. You are basically like in a sick bed. Any other generation would be, you sit for 5 hours. Oh, you're ill. You're dying, right? Like that's what they would think. It's not normal to sit. So if you have a desk job, get yourself the little pedals for under your desk to kind of help with circulation. It's not going to negate everything, but it's going to help a lot. And we're going to lower the amount of calories so much. And let's not demonize carbs or whatever. I mean, refined sugar we know is terrible. These refined oils, we know they're terrible. You need to have, if you're going to have oils, beef tallow, lard, ghee, butter, like those are coconut oil. Those are your safe fats. Anything else, you want to cut that out of your diet. You don't want to have anything prepackaged, pre-made, in a mix, in a jar, in a can, in a box. No, we're just going to get regular foods. Simple, simple, simple. You know how easy it is to go to work with a little brown bag with an apple, maybe like half a ham and cheese sandwich. And that's it. You are good. And don't put a drink in there. You don't need apple juice. You don't need a fizzy, bubbly drink. Please stay away from carbonated beverages as well because it stops digestion. We don't want that. So, no carbonation. Very simple, clean foods. All right. And we're going to be moving a lot. And that's all. So, okay. And also, they found in studies that when you are sedentary and you go to the gym, it does not negate it. So you can't out gym sedentary lifestyle. So we have to hit it where we're getting the most pain, and that is sitting. Anyways, so that's what I'm going to be doing this week. I will be doing check-ins. And if anyone wants to do a fast as well, I think it will be a great time to do it because it's nice to have like accountability partners. So if you want, the first comment shows the Discord server. So join the Discord server. And if you want to fast with us, you can fast and we can be supportive to each other. Everybody doesn't need to fast the same amount of time in the same way. So like if you take a pill that requires some food, you can have a teeny bit of food, right? Or like put some fat in some coffee or put some like heavy cream in some tea, and you can have that with pills if you need to take pills, like supplements, or if you're on medication. You want to make sure you're not completely like doing something crazy where you can't do that too. But still, just doing the drastic lowering of your calories and getting used to it. And when you feel the hunger pains, go, look, I have plenty of excess body fat. I am not starving to death. It is just my body is used to me eating at this time. So it's preparing by sending all the stuff to help me digest. It's not in there. So it's kind of like gurgling. It's a little painful. But when you don't feed it at that time anymore, it'll start going away. And when you feed it less, it'll start going less and being comfortable with less. And if you have very nutrient dense foods, you take your supplements in the morning, you have a little bit of good quality protein, not a lot. You don't need 20 ounces. 4 a day for most small people. Average size people is probably enough ounces of food. You can have sardines. That's amazing. That's healthy. A bit of sardines for breakfast. Some tea. You're good. You are golden. And then keep yourself active. Keep yourself away from the chairs of doom. Do not doom scroll on a chair or lounge doom scrolling. Don't watch television. The more television we watch or computer, it's the same, the more unhealthy we're going to be. Remember, when television got better and better and better, what else did happen? Well, we started getting lazier and lazier and bigger and bigger and bigger and eating more and snacking more. And they do this with marketing, that they always have like, oh, you want to do like a Super Bowl party where you're going to need all these snacks. You do not need snacks because you're having friends over. All of these things are just like baked in to keep us poor, overweight, and sick. You don't need snacks for every activity you do. Okay. You just don't. Even like going to the beach, what you need is maybe some water, right? You need to make sure you don't dehydrate, but you don't need to eat while you're in the beach. When you're in the beach, you are getting infrared rays right through your bathing suit or your clothes or whatever you're wearing. And that actually creates the same chemical reaction as taking something like that's toxic, like Ozempic or whatever. It's going to create those things in the body. Just the sun can do that. So get outside, get some sun, sit. If you want to sit, lounge like flat. Don't sit because the active sitting is kind of like really bad for your lymphatics. Lay down flat out in the sun. Get yourself some sun in a little patio you got. Maybe you got a balcony somewhere. Maybe you got like a tiny little sunroof in a car or your friend's car. You can park somewhere and just lay there a little bit. Try to get some sun. And yes, and remember that they're trying to make profits. A lot of these studies where they're like, oh, you lose all of your muscles first when you fast. You gotta think, what's their incentive for telling you to stop eating? None. They get no money, no funding. They can't sell you pharmaceuticals. They can't do any of these things. Look, obviously, you have to make up your mind for yourself. Nobody can do it for you. You have to think critically and logically, why would they tell me anything that makes me better for less money and they cannot profit from? They can't. They wouldn't. It's just, we live in a capitalist for-profit society. No one is going to tell you that, hey, you don't need to buy a product. You don't need to buy this pharmaceutical. You don't need this supplement. You don't need this. You just need to fast a little bit, or like maybe once a week, maybe, 2 days a week. Maybe if you're already healthy and at a healthy weight, maybe you just do like 15 hours of fasting. And I don't know, whatever you want to do. Whatever it is, they don't make money from that. So they are trying to shut that down. And the best way to shut that down is say, well, you have to have this much protein, right? And protein scare you. Or you have to have, you have to eat within 30 minutes of getting, imagine like the amount of psyops that it took them to convince us you have to eat within 30 minutes of waking up. What animal that you know of has to eat within 30 minutes of waking up or they die? I've never met an animal that happens to. Yeah, they wish they could. Of course, they're lazy. They're like our pets. They're like kind of like us. They're like, give me food. They're like tapping the food bowl. Yeah, but like a wild animal. No human contact. That's not a pet. That's not getting hand fed. They don't wake up and go, well, it's been 30 minutes. They don't do that. They're like, I got to hunt. I only have 30 minutes. That's not reality. So don't listen to when they tell you stuff like that. And the whole thing about that you're going to lose your muscles first. If you are on bed rest, you're not moving your muscles. You will lose your muscles, but you still lose them after you lose the fat. Like, have you ever met anyone who's been on bed rest? The first thing they lose is their fat. So there's kind of like a honeymoon phase where they look great. Same with like Ozempic, because they're basically starving themselves. Well, that's the other thing. You can't starve yourself by having willpower. You can only starve yourself by taking this pharmaceutical drug that we can make money off of. But it's the same thing. You're not eating. And Ozempic doesn't just take your ability to like want to eat away. It just takes your joy in life away. So then when you're with someone, you're trying to be happy, you don't feel happiness anymore. You don't get excited about anything anymore. Nothing is good. So yeah, you're not eating because that doesn't give you joy, but nothing else gives you joy. And they don't want to tell you that because then you get more depressed when you're on Ozempic. You think being hot and being thin is the only thing that matters, but it's not. Like, like having joy in your life is, and that gets sucked away. So yes, you can just fast. You don't have to take a drug so that you don't want to eat. Because when you fast, you can decide, I'm going to eat and I'm not going to eat. And you can be in control of your body and your own mind. Just like with lust, right? Lust and hunger, they're both in excess. They're sins, right? We're not supposed to do them to excess. So the same thing with eating. Just because they tell you have to have 40 pounds of different food groups every day does not mean you actually need that. What do we normally eat when we look healthy? It's very little. It's very little. There's no snacking. We're moving all the time. We're busy thinking about other things. When you have food noise, you're an addict. The same as when you're super lustful, you can't look at people without getting all crazy or like looking at something online. You know what I'm talking about? If you're like that, then you are an addict, right? It's too much. You need to distance yourself from the thing you have hyper fixated on because that's not going to make you happy, right? Food addiction it's not nutrition, it's not health, and lust is not love, it's not comfort, it's not companionship, it's not friendship, it's not that stuff. So know why you have these cravings. What does it really mean that you're lacking in other areas of your life, and how can you get that in a healthier way? Because I don't know, I just feel like there's so many times in our life where we can just take a step back and look at like, what are our motivations here? And sometimes when you just don't eat, when you do like a fast. I don't know, you want to fast and pray for a couple days, you could do that. When just fast and just hear your thoughts if you're not religious, or just fast and like listen to your cravings, your desires, and be like, why am I craving this? Why am I craving that? Why am I doing this? Why do I feel compelled to do that? The next thing you need to pay attention to is how you change your environment can change your health in your life. Sometimes you brought in junk into your life. You brought in junk food into your life. You brought in like a comfy couch and you put the TV right in front of it instead of putting like a couple conversational chairs together so you can have friends over and hang out. Instead of that, you made the television the focus. That's not healthy. That's not normal. That's not friendship. That's not companionship. That is an escape. That's escapism. That's the same thing as like gambling addiction, food addiction, all of those things. You need to break these cycles. So that's what we're going to be doing. Or at least I'm going to be doing that this week. Breaking them for clarity, for focus, deciding what it is I want. And I don't have like a ton of weight to lose. I have maybe like if I could be completely perfect, I would say 20 pounds. But then, I'm very short. I'm a very tiny little bite-sized person. So, it would make a huge difference for me. But for other people, maybe you only need to lose 5 pounds. And maybe you can just do that in 2 days, right? You don't need like a lot of days. Or maybe you can just do 2 days a week, like every other day or whatever it is. And you can fast a little bit to kind of get that clarity and get the noise, the food noise, and get your body to have some free time to do some autophagy, to kill any maybe like bad cells you have, or attack any viruses or parasites or whatever is going on in there. Because we all have something, we're all constantly exposed to stuff. So when we have a time where we're fasting, our body can finally say, okay, let's see what else we can do, because we're not eating. So we have some time here. And that's a normal part of being a human. Feast and famine, right? But the feast, tone it down. Real feast. Like an apple is a feast. A half of a sandwich is a feast for us. Like we are doing great if we can have that. And think of all the money you can save on food. You don't need to eat all this stuff. You don't need those snacks. You don't need any chips or dips or, whatever protein bars. You don't need a protein bar. Oh, but I'm not going to be able to stop and get lunch today. Let me get a protein bar. Just don't have lunch today. You'll get it tomorrow. Or just have dinner. But we never think that way because we're programmed. Oh, I have to eat this many times a day, this much food. We're programmed. That's a programming. So we're breaking programs today. I hope everybody has a beautiful rest of your day. And I'll see you all in the Discord. Like, subscribe, share, and yeah. Have a wonderful week. And thank you guys for coming.